In Singapore, food waste makes up the second largest waste stream, but only 16% of that is recycled, and most are from commercial sources. At home, no matter how mindfully we shop and prepare and eat, there is bound to be kitchen scraps and food waste to throw out. To divert household food waste from landfill and recycle right, we have to address the issue at the source, in our kitchens. This is a typical residential recycling center in South Korea. With 55 million people, South Korea has some of the strictest food waste laws in the world. Each household is required to separate their food waste at home, bring it to the neighborhood recycling center, and deposit it in a communal food waste smart bin. In many areas, residents are sent a monthly bill for the amount of food waste they've thrown out. The more food waste a household throws out, the more it pays. The South Koreans used to recycle only 2% of their food waste. Now, that figure is a whopping 95%. The thing is, it took South Korea 20 years to achieve that. Samakau landfill is expected to be full in 15 years. So how do we get to zero waste in less time? We wanted to see how open are Singaporeans to separating food waste in their kitchens. So we went door knocking in an HDB block. 18 households from Malay, Indian and Chinese backgrounds volunteered to separate their food waste for 7 days. We gave each of them a container and some biodegradable bags and asked them to leave the food waste just outside their doors between 8 to 8:30 p.m. every night. Every night, we collected the bags and weighed them. We were interested in tracking voluntary action and frequency. After 7 nights, here is what we discovered. 50 to 70% of households separated their food waste every night and left it outside for collection without any prompting from us. Some households missed the collection time and took the trouble to keep their food waste for the following night. They also took the trouble to inform us. Over the 7 nights, the participants came to know us by sight and told us it was no trouble to separate their food scraps every day. Many said they know it's for a good cause and indicated they were willing to continue to do it. Next, we visited groups and organizations that are already making use of food waste, either turning it into biogas or into dehydrated organic material that is safe to scatter back into the earth, or into microbial-rich compost that is excellent food for vegetables, herbs, and fruit trees. So as we can see, food waste recycling is already taking place in Singapore today. It's only in its infancy. The question is, how do we ramp it up?
Hi Caroline. Got a beautiful vegetable garden happening here and a compost pile, which is quite rare in Singapore. I mean, it's not common for Singaporeans to be composting. So can you tell us a bit about the garden and how you came about to do composting?
Sure. So I'm a resident here at Regent Heights, and a few years back we started off with the community garden, and really just by a few interested residents who started off meeting on Sunday mornings to work a little bit in the garden. And as we grew and got members who had different types of skills, we also had some members who were able to, for example, come up with constructing those composting beds, or like the structure which we have here for our compost. Mm-hmm. So it was just an initiative which just happened one Sunday morning, that one of our members was really interested in composting. He said, why don't we try this in our garden as well? And the reason for doing this is, as you can see, the soil is is not of very good quality, and we typically tend to source soil from outside, which is a cost on our community garden budget. And we thought by being able to generate some of the soil ourselves, that would be very, very helpful for us as a group.
That's great. So you got some food scraps there.
So yeah, this is our family's breakfast this morning. So we have some eggshells, some fruit peels, some coffee, and so we are collecting this on a daily basis and then just go down and put it onto the compost.
Right. Okay, so do you find it troublesome to do that? or it's just become a habit and you don't even notice it anymore?
So of course it was a bit of a change for us to first of all make that conscious choice that we always separate our waste, and then also to get all family members, including our helper, on board.
Making compost is a common activity used in other cities to process food waste. It is slowly catching on in Singapore. Compost is known as black gold by farmers. With more and more community food gardens springing up in the last few years, more and more local gardeners are realizing the importance of compost as a soil enricher and as a source of nutrients for their plants. Making compost kills two birds with one stone. It eats up kitchen scraps and produces nourishing fertilizer for our community gardens. How to make good compost takes knowledge and a good deal of practice.
So today, it's not very good, it's not diverse enough, just two kinds of fruits. And then usually I will check.
To ensure successful composting and sustain long-term interest, we recommend rolling out hands-on food waste to compost workshops in community gardens around Singapore, with particular focus on encouraging food waste donation and collection from residents who live in the neighborhood. We feel that a number of solutions can exist side by side. On a micro scale, community composting in the form of hot compost or worm farms can continue to take place as an important companion activity to support community food gardens. On a larger scale, hot composting, the kind that activates microbial goodness that makes black gold, requires a lot of space when done on an industrial level. In land-scarce Singapore, the next option might work better. The biodigester is already being used in many commercial premises around Singapore. It has a small physical footprint and is able to process all kinds of cooked and manufactured foods as a standalone self-contained system. After several rounds of processing, the remaining residue is 1 to 3% of the original volume and can be removed, dehydrated into desiccated organic matter that can be safely scattered back into grass or parklands. Alternatively, the liquid from the biodigester may be harvested as nutrient water that can be used in landscaping. In our brainstorming, we even thought of tackling the rubbish chutes. Perhaps they could be left out of new residential blocks altogether, which could make us more aware of our own trash. Or more chutes could be added, such as one dedicated to food waste. In the end, we all agree, while there are several workable solutions for food waste recovery, success depends on something less tangible. It is us as a nation cultivating the new habit of separating our food waste conscientiously into the foreseeable future. The reaction we got during the 7-night experiment in Jurong gave us more hope than we expected. There was a willingness and openness amongst the participants to listen and ask questions that made us think, when it comes to topics about helping the environment, people seem to respond better than we thought in an informal face-to-face peer-to-peer interaction. Some of the participants even told us they were willing to take the trouble of bringing their food waste to a dedicated collection point. We feel that altruistic habits should be further encouraged with incentives and are proposing implementing a points reward system in partnership with businesses such as supermarkets and F&B outlets. Basically, in our vision, the more a household contributes to their neighborhood food waste bin, the more points they can earn to redeem for groceries or other retail items. We are in the process of refining this idea. More detail is available in our final report. So, maybe, just maybe, forming a new national habit before Samarkand runs out of room is possible after all. Thank you for the opportunity to be a part of the Citizens Work Group.